It's the Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, where I go and look at loan plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed on daily fantasy sports and all these contests to operate. If you have any question related to NASCAR, it isn't a stupid question, feel free to shoot them away on Twitter, BrandonCruzDFS. Most importantly, take everything here with a grain of salt and use your best judgment to make entries. Initially, if you have a game addiction, it's just not my problem. Check your sense of feelings at the door. We're talking about the Xfinity Series at the Glen this weekend, Watkins Glen. And yeah, that's basically about it. Let's just get right into it. Nothing, no big stories. I got all my stories and rants out in the other videos. So, looking into this race, we got 82 laps, and a bit more than the Truck Series. So only 20.5 laps lead points out there, and 36.9 fast laps out there to be divided between the drivers. So a little bit more than the Truck Series, but still place differential is going to be a huge chunk of your priority and lineups, in pretty much all the races this week. But it's still more important in trucks and the Xfinity Series. At least in the Cup Series, you can possibly get more guys leading laps or getting fast laps throughout here. One thing I didn't talk about a whole lot was the whole strategy aspect of how broken the road courses are, where a lot of guys are going to be pitting before the end of a stage, and so we're going to see a lot of teams shuffle positions, entering stage 2 and entering stage 3. You're going to see guys up front who don't necessarily deserve to be up there, or at least in the top 10, like maybe 3 or 4 drivers inside the top 10 are just guys or bums who are running 19th and then pitted early or didn't pit at all, or just doing dumb things like that. Can't really control that. All we can do is try and project and predict who's going to be up there towards the end of the race, and that's more so what my rankings are doing. Earlier in the month, you can still join the Patreon. You get all the races this month. Just went blank. You get all my projections and everything for all the races this month. If you want to do that, if you want to support me, you can do that through PayPal. Both those are in the description. If you don't want to do that, if you want to focus on the NFL season, I completely understand. Looking at this, my main interest in guys who are leading laps mainly starts with Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, A.J. Allmendinger, Austin Cindric. Those would be my main guys that I would think who can get up there and lead laps. Now, that's not saying Allgaier can't get up there and lead laps. That's not saying Himmer can't get up there and lead laps. But they would not be my priority guys to go after in terms of leading laps. I think Justin Haley has a chance of leading laps. We saw both guys run extremely well at Mid-Ohio earlier in the year. They actually ended up finishing 1-2 for Colleague Racing. I count it as 1-2-3 because Jeb Burton took one for the team and brought out the yellow so A.J. Allmendinger could win that race. But Colleague is gonna show up fast here. I think this is a road course that really suits AJ's driving style of fast, aggressive. Obviously, he already has a Cup Series win here. I don't really care about that, but when you look at the tracks that AJ Allmendinger is really good at in terms of road courses, it's the faster ones. It's not as technical. It's not like the Roval. It's not like Sonoma. It's the faster swinging corners, the faster just road courses in general. And that's pretty much my only distinction when I'm looking at road courses is how fast they're going. It's not necessarily if it's a Roval, it's just how fast they're going. Is it a tight technical road course, or is it a faster rolling road course to where you can really carry momentum down long straightaways? This is A.J. Allmendinger's track. I am absolutely in love with Allmendinger for this. And he has practice from the Truck Series. So if you want to keep throwing that in there, I just like A.J. Allmendinger more and more. Snyder, as I kind of just said with A.J. Allmendinger, I think Snyder is better on technical tracks. I think this kind of hurts him a bit. 8,300 for a guy that I don't think is going to really be competing inside the top 10 today or on Saturday. I don't like it. $8,300. Jeb Burton, I'll consider him. Moffatt, I love him based on the price. I'm just worried he's going to end up dropping a few positions, maybe finishing 12th, 11th at Road America in that same race where Jeb spun to help A.J. Allmendinger win the race. Brett Moffatt lost not his motor, he had an electrical issue, and the car shut off coming to the green on the final restart. And that's been the story of Brett Moffatt. If you've been watching me the entire year, I've loved Brett Moffatt, and he's pretty much been either my favorite play or my favorite low-owned guy the entire year. And I don't mean to just keep going back to Brett Moffatt, but he's underpriced at $6,400. Can the car stay with him? I believe in the car. I fully believe in the car. I believe in him. Right now, I'm giving Moffatt an 11th place finish. If you think he's going to get a top 10, I'm fine with it. At $6,400, I'm fine paying that for him. Let's just hope he doesn't get involved in another wreck or something stupid happens to him late. Probably not going to go Herbst. I just don't think I can do it. If I'm paying up for some of the place differential plays, if I'm paying up for A. Jomininger, if I'm paying up for Cindric, it's hard for me to justify getting into the 8 and in the 7K range, whereas I think maybe that's another reason why I like Moffatt so much. I like Gragson. If you look at how consistent Gragson has been when he doesn't have mechanical issues, I like him. I think he's underpriced as well. I think he can easily get you a 5X. Right now I'm giving him 46.35 points. That's a 4.8, but I think he can get a 5X. I like Jeremy as well, and I like Sieg, not nearly as much as Jeremy, but I like these guys. As I kind of just said, I think I'm going to end up in the 6K range a lot. That's what a lot of my early lineups are showing. And so people like Moffatt, people like Jeremy Clements, people like Ryan Sieg are going to be guys that I'm going to be playing. Probably Brandon Brown a little bit as well. I like these guys. I'm probably going to be over the field on a lot of the 6K guys. Or maybe not. Maybe I come in even with the field. But that just seems like where a lot of my lineups are going to be made. It's going to be high salary and 6K. So that's where we're at. I love Ty Gibbs. I like him a lot. If you saw me rant about Tyler Gray, Ty Gibbs did the same thing, man. That ARCA series makes you tough. It makes you wreck people. And Ty Gibbs is Dale Earnhardt reincarnated, preaching about Jesus on Twitter and wrecking people on the track. I like me some good old Ty Gibbs this week. Jade Buffer, kind of same situation with Brent Moffatt. I like him. I think this is a road course that leans more into Jade's wheelhouse versus some of the other road courses. It's just how stupid is this race going to get? He's starting 16th. I think he's extremely... I think he's really, really risky, actually. If I haven't made my mind up of how much I'm going to have Jade, because I think he's a good play. $5,600. You're going to end up being there if you're paying up for a lot of guys. At the same time, God, does he get wrecked? Does he do something stupid? I think you need to consider him in your player pool. I don't really much have a feel on Jade other than that. Like, I want to play him. I'm just not sure how much I'm going to play him. I could easily see myself playing too much Jade and then just getting screwed when he does something dumb. Tommy Joe Martins, not going to do it for me. Just not going to get there. I don't see it happening. Throwback to the start of the week. Early Patreon supporters, you kind of read my early thoughts this year of each of the series. And if you remember, I called it the year of Michael Annett. And this is the year of Michael Annett. $7,700. Starting 18th. Coming off of surgery, breaking his leg, and his leg amputated. Doesn't matter. My only concern here is that he's going to be left foot break. He's going to be using his clutch foot a ton. I believe that's the one he had his thigh worked on, or his leg worked on. So maybe that's an issue, but I still believe in Michael Annett. The dummy wouldn't come back if he didn't feel confident that he could shift and drive in this race. I love Michael Annett. So when I came to Josh Williams' price, when I was doing this earlier, I thought I imported this wrong. I thought I was taking drugs. I thought I was smoking crystal meth. I thought I imported something wrong here, because $4,900 for Josh Williams just makes absolutely no sense. I have no idea why he's $4,900. I don't get it. Obviously, he could wreck and it could bust. It could not work, but I just don't understand. When you look at Williams's career really across the board, or not career, but recent races. Oops, wrong one. Josh Williams. When you're looking at his recent races, okay, so, and this is kind of just including every road course that you can look at in terms of him, either going back to 2019. So this is kind of just going to be including everything. It's going to be a mess. But at Daytona Road Course, both years, 17th and 24th. Indianapolis GP, 22nd. 2020 Roval, 34th. 2019 Roval, 20th. Watkins Glen in 2019, 20th. Montreal this year, 10th. Or Mid-Ohio, not Montreal. Mid-Ohio this year, finished 10th. Mid-Ohio in 2019 finished 22nd. Road America this year, 17th. Road America in 2020, 13th. Road America in 2019, 31st. These finishes do not represent a $4,900 price tag. It represents more of a $5,800, a $5,700, maybe even a $5,600. But I think Josh Williams is just underpriced to the extreme. And if you're paying up for Ty Gibbs and Cindric and A.J. Allmendinger in a lineup, or just two of those guys, or if you're paying up for a lot of people, it seems to me like you either play Williams or you play a lot of the 6K and 5K. Because there's only two guys in the 4K that can work in my mind, and that's Chris Wright, who has been running extremely well late in races, and he's been caught up in wrecks that are not his fault. He just hasn't had anywhere to go. And Josh Williams. Like, it seems it's either Chris Wright and Josh Williams for the 4K range, couple 5K guys that are useful. The 6K range will be kind of already covered, and then just up high. Oops. And I think Williams is just underpriced. I think you need to really, really consider playing Williams. It's still early right now. I don't know where the people are coming from. Right now, I initially feel like I need to be overweight on Chris Wright and Josh Williams. Maybe not necessarily in one lineup, but using those two guys as my main bottom guy. Maybe because you have Josh Williams and Chris Wright there, it kind of separates the ownership. So you play more if whoever is lower owned there. But I like Williams. I like Chris Wright here. And so that really nullifies a lot of the 5K range for me. Let's see. Going back to ranking these fellers. No on Castle. Like Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, underpriced as well. If you look at how he's been running road courses this year, should easily hit a 6 value. I think he can hit 6. Easy. Easy. Excuse me. No need to really worry about Weatherman. Here, I have cheaper guys. I have Williams and... Oh my gosh, dude. I swear I'm not drinking before. I'm just a mess, man. I take drinks, I start talking, I start burping. I act like a child again. I have no idea how to control anything. Burps, bowel movements, nothing. I just fall apart here on the screen. But I like Chris Wright. I actually don't like Joe Graff Jr. I don't like Alex LeBay as a road course guy. He hasn't been there this year. And then why is Williams so cheaper than Alex LeBay? Come on, man. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Jesse Little going to be a no for me. Jeffrey Earnhardt, probably the worst projected guy on the slate for me at the moment. Matt Mills has surprisingly finished better than I thought he would, or than I've been thinking that he's been finishing on the road courses. Still not going to be there, but if you need a 4K guy and you don't want to go Williams and you don't want to go Chris Wright, Matt Mills would probably be the third guy I'd consider in the 4K range. I probably won't go there. I'll go the other two guys, but if you don't feel those guys and you need a 4K driver, probably be Matt Mills for me. Josh Bilicki, God, dude. I mean, actually, that's too much here. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I messed it up. I was like, why do I have him projected for that much? You need to consider him. I wish it was JJ Yaley. Oh, man. I'm going to say no on Josh Bilicki. I don't think his price is worth changing your lineup enough to get him. Changing the construction of the lineup, I mean. So we're going to say no to that. We're going to say no to Howard. Timmy Hill, going to be a no at the moment. Just depends on if we hear back on the sponsorships and see what they do there. Sam Mayer. I've given him 9 place differential points. You're like, but he's in a good car. What are you doing? Yeah, but Sam And until he shows me differently, it's the same thing going back to how I projected Haley Deegan early in the year. I gave her a projection of like 17th in each race. She wasn't performing that. I bumped the projections down, expecting her to finish around 22nd, 21st when she started showing improvement. I then went back to giving her, a projected 17th, 16th place in the Truck Series. Same thing with Brett Holmes. I thought he'd finish there. He's doing a bit worse. I got to bump it back. Right now, I think Sam is overpriced. I think he's going to be struggling on these road courses. When we get to the short tracks, when we get to real racetracks, I'll be back on Sam. But I think Sam Mayer makes mistakes. I don't want to pay that for Sam Mayer. I'm not going to have him in my player pool. So if he does well, he's out. Well, I wasn't even on him to begin with. So that's where we're at there. Michael, not going to do it for me. Preston Pardis, not going to do it for me. Preston Pardis, I like him on the more technical road courses. And he's still been messing up. Not always his fault. He's been spun out. He's been bumped off the track. Typically, if somebody's off track late in the race because somebody cut somebody off, it's usually Preston Pardis because he was just being eat up by the competition. But Preston Pardis is not going to be there for me. I like Jones as well at around a 5x value. That might be good enough to get in there at 10.6. It is expensive, but I don't hate it. Kyle Tilley getting practice for the Cup Series race with BJ McLeod. So maybe that helps him for the Cup Series race. And I think that's more so why BJ is putting him in this car, because he doesn't have that much experience in the stock car on the road or in road courses. I think this is going to help Kyle Tilley for the Cup Series. Depends on how well he does. Maybe I'll start considering more for the Cup Series on Sunday, but I'm not going to be looking at him for Sunday. Not going to be there for Dave Smith. Not going to be there for Bailey Curry. Not going to be there for Stephen Light. And so this is where I'm at right now. I'm going to be paying up and then using the 6K and 4K range. It's pretty much where we're at right now. Hopefully that helps you out. Maybe it at least gives you insight on how my lineups are looking at early in the week right now, or early in the weekend, because this is Thursday. But yeah, that's where we're at. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching. If you want to support me, Patreon, PayPal in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.